Hello, everybody. Well, it's a pretty nice day out. People are, as you see, out on their bikes. They're all changing. All our neighbors are changing their snow tires out. And I've been trying to work on something that is completely, utterly overwhelming me right now. But I thought I'd make a quick video. I managed to get the heater box slash AC out. So that's awesome. As you can see, that takes up a huge chunk of space. I couldn't see this back primary tube basically on this header. Like, that was a huge chunk of space. It came out pretty much, if you look in older videos, to about here. Like, that thing's huge. What I'm going to be doing is a small vintage air setup, because this thing's only ever going to be driven in like summer months. So I need a little bit of heat, maybe more air circulation. Not going to be running AC. Old car. I sort of like the old school feel of putting the windows down, and that all the lines on the AC was all brittle and cracked and broken and whatnot, so it wouldn't need a whole new system anyways. So I just figured, you know what? Because race car, it's not a race car, but because race car, we're not going to put AC back in it. So this is going to get a block off panel here, and just on the back side of it on the inside, I'll end up mounting this vintage air setup, which, because somebody swapped to this TBI, it had a computer that they needed space for, so they took the back of the glove box off, so there's already tons of space back there to mount the thing up. Anyways, the main reason, besides showing that off and the fact that apparently I am getting to this car just in the nick of time before it is done, forgive all the traffic that's driving by, is I also got, if you look down in there, all that mass of wiring's missing. I got all of the stuff that was wound around here and whatnot out and gone. So this car is now 99% wireless, we'll say. There's still a little bit there, like that's for the switches for the doors for the dome light and that. So I haven't seen how to get those switches out, because I obviously want to keep those. I like the idea of when you open the door, the dome light comes on. But that, and there's a little bit on the floor that's routed through the bracing for the driver's seatbelt being on, to ground that switch out. That I'm not so worried about keeping. But otherwise, there is no wiring left in this car. Oops, didn't close. There we go. Something you don't get with a modern car is a thunk like that. Even an old ride-out Hulk like this is still sounds like it's solid. So if you've ever wondered what's in a car that makes it tick, that would be it. You have to remember, this car there's no power locks, no power windows. It had cruise, but all of that was vacuum operated. All the AC and heater controls are all vacuum operated. It's not like, that truck or the neighbor's Jeep or Malibu there. Like, they're all electrically operated. So, I mean, like here, if you look, I think I said in a previous video, that's a vacuum diaphragm. And these aren't wires. They're all vacuum lines and vacuum tubes to actuate these doors. See if I can, yeah, like that's a giant door that goes up and down based on that motor, or that vacuum diaphragm, which you can kind of hear. It's moving the air through it, right? Hopefully that's being picked up on the camera. But, yeah, so I mean, what was in this car is very rudimentary, very basic compared to even with the conversion to TBI that somebody had done. It's nothing compared to the wiring that's in, any of these modern vehicles. So when you look at this spaghetti mess, I mean, yes, I didn't lay everything out perfectly and whatnot, but for the most part, this is how it came out of the car. I read a lot of posts on forums and stuff where people were saying that there are electrical stuff on these G-bodies and that they're, oh, this is not working all of a sudden, I don't know why isn't this one working? So it's rot and, makes a bad ground or whatever, but I mean, I found stuff because this is a 1981, right? So at the time of this filming, that would put it at what, 40 years old, give or take, whatever months. And well, look, like that's a perfect example. Somebody's put that together. I don't know if under that if it's soldered or if it's just twisted together with electrical tape or what. Like it's 40 years old. It's been through various owners. There's all kinds of stuff here that who knows. I found stuff on back in here where it looked like it was burned in some spots, and so it had been shorting out. And again, and this one, like I said, they did a TBI conversion, but it wasn't a nice aftermarket plug and play one that's designed specifically to work with G-body harnesses and everything, so everything clicks in and it's just go and it's perfect like factory. This was a truck motor. This is a 350 at a 90s truck. And so they took the wiring harness from the 90s truck and the motor, and they took the wiring harness from the 81 Grand Lemans, and they patched them together. So it's kind of like, well, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great. That might stand up for another 40 plus years of time, right? So that's one reason why, if people are wondering why I tore literally every bit of wiring out of it, it's because I'm replacing it all with a aftermarket universal harness. I'm going to rewire the whole car, so I know that I'm not going to fire it up and halfway down the road it starts smoking, and next thing you know I have no car because it went up in flames. I'd rather have that peace of mind. It's sort of the same reason why I am going to be taking this whole body off of this frame. It's not just because, oh yeah, I want to fix the rot. It's no, if I'm doing all this work, let's do it right. Make sure that it's all good. Not that, oh well, I fixed that floor and that wheel well and whatnot, and oh yeah, it's fine, and then I come to find out that all the body mount holes and that are completely rounded out and rotten, and the frame's no good inside another 3-4 years. Like, I want to make sure that this thing's good, so I do this once and I can enjoy the car from then on, right? But anyway, that's my little rant and ramble. Just thought it'd be kind of interesting for people to see how much wiring and whatnot is actually in a vehicle. And like I said, this is a very rudimentary one, really. Next thing, now that I've got that out and all the wiring out, I am going to save that whole mass of spaghetti back there into a garbage bag and just have it marked as wiring harness, just in case. Like I said, I'm going to be using a universal harness. If there's anything on this, like on the dash, that I'm going to be using, that it needs a certain clip for, say, those door plugs, or for the dome light, this has a trunk release on it. Do I have the key? Yeah, I do have the keys. Yeah, I can show you here. It's got trunk release, and when I was taking this wiring out, I actually found it actually has a trunk light. Just sort of like, oh, I know that sounds kind of funny, but on some older vehicles, that was actually kind of a higher end option to have all this accessory lighting and that. So it's got a power trunk release. So like that clip, I want to save the wiring for that clip because I want it to be functional. Same deal, like it's got, if I can get back up here, yeah, it's got the nice little trunk light, and there's back right there, yeah, is a factory clip. So why go through all the trouble trying to find an aftermarket unit when that socket and that works just fine? It's just a light bulb socket. Keep the nice factory connector, and yeah. Anyways, point is, thought it'd be cool to see that. Next plan, like I said, is I think probably getting the engine and trans out. I was thinking I was gonna leave that, but the more I look at this stuff, at the way that this thing's sitting and put together, the more I'm thinking, you know what? If I can get this whole thing blown apart so there's nothing in the way, it'll be a lot easier to change out that rot and fix it. And then before I lift it, it's going to be bracing everything inside, cutting out all that, fix that rot that you can see up top, and then once that's fixed and this is a solid platform again, lift off the body and deal with cleaning up the frame. I know I quickly mentioned the body mounts. I know this video is starting to drag on, so I won't be too long, but you can kind of see what I mean by the body mount holes. That's supposed to be round. And this one's really bad comparatively. They're supposed to look much more like that, where it's a clean cut right through. And you can kind of tell, like, there's the second body mount. You can already tell looking through the top there that that's probably garbage. So I'm gonna have to weld in washers and whatnot and try to fix that. So, anyways, so yeah, there's a little update on the Lemans. Making progress, getting there, one 30-minute job at a time, as it were. I guess the only way to do it. Otherwise, it's just gonna sit here forever if I, don't start picking away. So, we'll talk to you later.